Nice. All right. Okay. All right. Thank you, Ernest. Welcome, everybody. DAOlationships Guild Weekly Sync, number 5, May of 16th, Season 4 and BDAO. Very excited for this one. Thank you, Ernest, for being the note taker as usual. You can see our DAOlationships Weekly Sync on the screen, which Ernest is showing. For those of you that are in the call right now, joining from the DAOlationships Guild Ernest voice channel, welcome everybody. DAOlationships Guild Weekly Sync, number 5, May of 16th, Season 4 and BDAO. Very excited for this one. Thank you, Ernest, for being the note taker as usual. You can see all the DAOlationships Weekly Sync on the screen,
it's doubly
which
awesome.
Ernest is showing. For those of you that are major delay. Okay. Looks. I hope you're still live. You should be, right? Okay, we are still live. Nice. Cool. So sorry for the minor problems, but yeah, as you can see, or if you're joining from the Discord channel, check out the link Ernest has shared 10 minutes ago, and then you can see the agenda as well. All right, so we can start right off by welcoming new members. If you're new, it's your first call. Now is the time to speak up and introduce yourself to our little community here. Go ahead.
I guess I can start on that then, right?
Sure.
I'm Sean. I'm from Aragon DAO. I do community management and onboarding over there, and we're looking to help grow our relationship with Bankless in quite a few different ways. So really excited to be here. Thanks, guys.
Welcome, Sean. So yeah, Sean from Aragon. Aragon, one of the OG DAOs, and Sean, one of our early contributors in BDAO. So we hope that we can build a cross DAO work stream going forward, which will be pretty exciting. So someone is not muted. Neke, you want to say something? Go ahead, please. All right. Sorry to point out that. Okay. All right. Yeah, thank you, Ernest, for showing this too. I think, except of Sean, we don't have new members here. I see the usual suspects and usual JPEGs. Yeah, as every week. So unless someone.
Well, I was going to say, well, if that's the case, we can go in depth talking about Aragon and Bankless and how we can all collaborate. I'm not sure how you guys' meetings go, so I don't want to just. I have a habit of just like taking the lead on stuff, so I don't want to do that here.
Very good. No worries. We have an agenda which we want to punch through, but we can spare if you can stick around the last few minutes of this call, at least the last few minutes, and continue the conversation async for the potential collaboration with Aragon and see which members you have appetite and interest to work on this too. So yeah, just stick around as we go through. So in terms of our agenda, governance part, Ernest, any updates here?
Real quickly, governance updates. Signers, please sign Notice of Swap transaction to update our multi-sig. And essentially, CryptoDad is working on the CSV for Parcel, and then we'll have funds distributed for the first period of Season 4. I did check with Grants Committee, and they will give us our coordinate funds that got left out of the totals for our proposal. So those will be coming, and we won't have to like repropose getting those coordinate funds. And yes, our draft seasonal priorities document is still under review and open for comment, and I'll get that posted in the notes and in the general chit chat. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Ernest. Maybe one question here. Did the Treasury Guild, so what has been the outcome with Coordinape and funds for Coordinape? Did they include it for season 4 funding?
Yes, we get our Coordinape. It's we've just already gotten everything except the Coordinape, so I'll just check back in with them, when they're not busy, to get the rest of our funds, and we'll get those before we need them.
Nice. Sweet. Okay, cool. Next up, we got guild coordination. And as usual, I'm trying to rework the Notion page over time. It's still a little bit of work yet. You can see the new layout that has been there, I think, since 2 weeks. Besides from that, I want to thank NF Thinker for pushing the services and product CRM and helping me and other folks that are interested in this topic, getting the projects that we have in BDAO actually completing this services and product CRM that we have, because we have 22 services and products in Bankless DAO, from podcasts to potential research to reports that we can create to translating stuff, but we cannot always update them. And so we need to figure out how to incentivize folks from the projects themselves to update this Notion page every now and then, so we can, as clients come in, or as Bankless Consulting comes in and wants to create a media kit, wants to create a pitch deck for potential clients, and what can we offer, DAOlationships should be a go-to place with all the important information there. And so this is a way how we can help get this done. Otherwise, no major updates here. I think I will hand over or I will pass the mic to the talent scouts and if Thinker and CryptoDad. Floor is yours. Any updates?
Hey. As far as updates, there is some stuff happening at Permissionless this week. So I'm going to be going around and trying to meet people and try and onboard more people to the DAO. So there should be a lot of IRL connections being made this week. I don't know if anybody else in this group is going to Permissionless, but if you are, hit me up and let's hook up. I'm also going to be running an AMA with Fight Club, which will we're going to host that from the Bankless DAO Twitter. I'm going to be trying to make an initiative. I spoke with Ornella this morning and Eisen from the Arabic International Media Node. He was saying that we need to start essentially getting guilds and projects to present within the International Media Node servers, like doing AMAs within there, because a lot of times the contributors within those servers don't really take part in the projects and the guilds that we have here because they don't speak English. So the whole idea is to sort of show them what we're doing, and then I don't know if what the end result would be. Maybe it would be something like they have their own guilds within their own native speaking servers or something like that. But that's just one initiative that we're trying to work on. And while we were discussing that, we talked about promoting different projects and different guilds on a regular basis using marketing. So there would be some budget that's allocated from the main DAO treasury in the marketing guild's budget each season, and that will cover like a project of the week or a international media note of the week, that type of thing. And we could have projects, guilds, IMN, initiatives, maybe governance or something like that. So as long as marketing is just sort of promoting all the activities that are happening within the DAO, and then hopefully that will just raise awareness and increase participation and sort of streamline efforts for everybody. So I don't know, thoughts, anybody?
Yeah. So, well, to the IMN thing, so what we did in marketing for analytics shared services is we essentially set up a workstation in their English section of their server, and then but the person that agrees to moderate the workstation in the IMN, they reach out to, their job is to reach out and listen, to the people in the IMNs, and then, they can come here when needed, or we can, come there to the workstation as needed. But essentially, we can provide DAOlationships services by setting up a workstation in there without setting up like a whole guild. We just need to moderate one channel.
Okay. Would you mind if I put Eisen in touch with you, Ernest?
Not at all. But more importantly, we need to identify the people in this DAOlationships guild that attends these meetings that want to also is either already in the IMNs or is interested in also being in the IMNs.
Yeah, that's one thing we discussed as well, is trying to bring more IMN contributors into DAOlationships and sort of, try and build that a little bit. Maybe have a representative from each one or something who could check in.
Well, we just need, like two people that can attend these meetings or listen to them, and then also be comfortable, building a presence in a channel in the IMN server. So, but they're not going to be able to speak every language, but they should feel comfortable working with people with, different languages trying to speak English.
Like we need a robot. We need some AI who can speak all the languages.
Well, and then ultimately, you would find somebody from the biggest IMNs to also contribute to that channel in the IMN. And, then we would have essentially somebody, we would always have a channel open to Bankless Brazil, to Bankless, whatever, Sweden or China, whatever, But we need to, we can't just say we want to support the IMNs. And maybe this is a role, a workstation that we set up and essentially put like a coordinator or a talent scout, and kind of like a project coordinator and a talent coordinator. And those two people would kind of run, support them.
Okay.
If you can find the people interested, I can probably draft like a proposal of what a workstation might look like,
Okay. Well, I've just put you in touch with Eisen, so hopefully we can keep that conversation going. Nice one. And let's see, what else have I been working on recently? There is Neki, and Neki's been producing this proposal to send somebody to Brussels to represent BDAO at this Regen conference. And so Jared's put us in touch with this guy, Tobias. And as far as I know, Tobias is going. He's going to take a train. And then he'll be reimbursed by the Regen DAO. But we're submitting a proposal for 40,000 bank. I've posted this a number of times in the channel here. So yeah, please go check it out. It's a proposal. Neki has posted it in the channels as well. the bank would be used to reimburse 20,000 bank used to reimburse the travel and accommodation for Tobias, which is equivalent to sort of $400 for a train ticket and 3 nights and food. And then there's another 20,000 bank, which would be allocated towards creating digital assets, which align with the Bankless DAO regen mission. Now, what's the Bankless DAO regen mission? We kind of don't actually have one. So the spin-off of this is going to be creating rounding out the regen initiative from within Bankless DAO. People want to know what our regen initiative is. They want to know what we're planning to do to help the environment. You know, crypto has a bad rap. What are we doing to teach people about the powers of crypto, how crypto can reduce overhead and thereby reduce costs and thereby reduce energy, et cetera, all that good stuff. So, you know, it would be cool if we saw a regen initiative spin up from this and the carbon collectibles initiatives and some of the Bankless Africa initiatives that have been spun up, and then any other DAOs that we want to get involved. But yeah, if you've got thoughts on that, please take a look. If you think 40,000 bank is like, what the hell are these guys doing spending 40,000 bank on this, please comment on it and say as much, because this is the temp check time right now, and then it's going to go to the forum, and hopefully it's going to pass. So the regen guys can claim back. They're going to front the cash for Tobias to go, and then essentially we have to reimburse them if we pass the proposal. So yeah, thoughts, just leave them on the doc, please, if you need a link to that. Maybe Neki, you could post that one more time in the DAOlationships general. Also, did you have anything that you wanted to say, Nikki, about it? Sorry, I just talked on and on there.
No, I think you've pretty much said everything. I'll just post it there. If anybody has anything you'd like to add, wait.
All right, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. And yeah, as promised, NF, I will take a look at that later today and make sure to give my feedback. I haven't managed to do it yet. Yeah,
it's all good. And then, yeah, in terms of AMAs, we also have Sanad has kind of closed the deal on an AMA, and Sanad, I'll let you talk about that.
Thank you. Yeah, Nation 3 and Anastasia, who has joined the DAO or has been in DAOlationships a few weeks ago, interested about partnerships that we can develop. And I had a discovery call with her a few weeks ago, I think. And since then, we have been thinking about ways to collaborate. I offered her 2 ways. The first one would be to do an AMA to help her introduce, give her the floor, introduce the Nation 3, which is pretty new to our community. And the second one would be distribution or kind of a discount on some of their Genesis stuff that they have for our community members, which she hasn't answered yet. But I think that's something that's going to be interesting going forward. So I will stick to that too. However, today she has actually responded to the AMA and went to set it up. So there has been a proposal in their community and it got approved to hold an AMA with us. She wants to do AMA on Wednesday. I just reached out to Jairus and asked him if he has time on Wednesday to do that with me, since I initially wanted to do that with Anna Thinker. But yeah, I first of all didn't expect her to take so long to find some of kind of consensus on whether they want to do the AMA or not. But we are in the DAO space. Things move slowly. And yeah, so Jairus and I are trying to figure out which time could work to host the AMA, and then I will be reaching out to her to kind of confirm that, and then we are set to prepare the marketing materials. They have to pay as well. So I think in 2 days it will be a pretty tight schedule, to say the least. But yeah, we will have an AMA hopefully and most likely soon with Nation 3 on Wednesday. More infos are going to come, so stay tuned. Yeah, I was muting. Go.
Yes,
you wanted to add something? It was like I'm muting myself as someone will take over right now, but like I just realized that I'm leading the meeting, so
that's all good. I think that should be a really interesting one. And then in terms of other AMAs, we have the Cresco one coming up on Tuesday, and there are a few other AMAs in the pipeline. The main, the main idea now with these AMAs is to really like see how we can populate the YouTube channel with high quality video content. I know I can't remember who mentioned it. I'm not sure if this was you, Liquidiate, talking about streaming the guild meetings to YouTube, whether or not that's going to sort of water down our content and make it not as what's the word I'm looking for? Enticing, I suppose. Like fewer views on certain videos will drag down our metrics. I don't know. Does anybody think that might be a problem? Was that Ernest?
Well, Ernest brought it up, and I was the one that said that we didn't want to water down the YouTube with too much content. Yeah.
So what do you think then? Like, in terms of like AMAs, should we just aim for high quality AMAs and then the community calls, and then maybe set some? I don't know. How are we going to manage that in the future? Because like streaming things like DAOlationships seems kind of like a good idea because we're trying to get people involved. So I suppose that makes sense. But what about other things? Do we need some rules around that, like some protocol?
Well, I think we were really aiming to have content that people would want to like absorb, like as opposed, like, because I don't think anybody would want to watch what we're doing right now on YouTube. So that's why I'm saying like guild meetings don't, we're trying to kind of curate it to some degree, and I'm working with Jairus to find sponsors. So we're actually going to be, so the AMAs we're doing with DAOlationships are great. That's good content. The community calls are all right. We could find a way to like make that better. If Soundman, because Soundman has no, like, he doesn't really care to make it any better. He's doing what he's doing, but he has said that he may step out. And at that point, I've offered to step in, and we could think about ways to improve the community call as well. And then beyond that, like, people are making content, and those things are going to end up there. I know Ernest is working on some content that he put a proposal through AV Guild on. That stuff's going to end up there. And then working with Podcast Hatchery, a lot of things are going to be re-released there. And hopefully working with Jairus, we're going to find some sponsors for Hatchery and for different content, not the AMAs, because those will have already been paid for. So no sponsors on that material, but sponsors on other, podcast type material that we might create. There's also been some talks about maybe some of the GSE content. But even with the AMAs and the GSE and all that type of stuff, I am kind of thinking that it's better to edit than to just put things up there as they are, like doing it live. Yeah. Only because you can kill a lot of air. You can really take out some things that you don't need to be there. And then also because it seems to be kind of very tight on scheduling, where people are like paying the day before the AMA. So you have no time to do your pre-production. So we need more time if we're going to do live pre-production, because we could do it. It's a juggling act, but it can be done. But you need to like,
well, like we're doing with Cresco right now. Like the Cresco one, we're gonna have a prepared slide deck. Unlike what that was the aim to have it for Moon now, but like we just ran up against deadlines, and that didn't get done in time because they did actually pay on basically Thursday night. So I woke up Friday morning, and then we had Friday to release the banner on Twitter, make sure that the calendar event was synced up, make sure all that information was correct, and then essentially over the weekend to create all the slide deck. And the weekend is like, it's great if you've got all weekend to work, but if you don't, then it's kind of just that sort of thing can't get done so quickly. So now we have the Cresco one, and we've already started like concepting some of the stuff. We got a banner to send out tomorrow. So, the more we're prepared, the more we can create high-end content. And I feel like that's the main thing, right? It's like we have to have high-end content that people are going to actually want to come and consume. Otherwise, it's just, endless hours of talking on a channel with no video.
Right. I mean, there is one, there's two workarounds here. The one is that, like, Ernest is streaming on his page. You can continue doing that, and we can put up a playlist on the main Bankless DAO that says, like, DAOlationships guild meetings. And then it's, like, not on the page, but you can get to the playlist from the page. And we were talking about doing that in general with content creators around the DAO, like, because Eureka John does a live stream every morning. We're going to do a playlist for Eureka John, So that type of stuff. And then the other in-between option would be unlisting things. So you can put things up there unlisted, and they won't show up on the main page. And the only way to get there is either through a playlist or by having the link. So then you can have things that are unlisted and put a playlist up. And then that way, we can find it. Anybody who really wants to find it can find it, but it doesn't eat up space on the main page, and it doesn't come up in their feed. It doesn't announce it.
Okay, that's cool.
So that's kind of the middle of the road.
Makes sense. Yeah, that works.
Yeah, just want to switch back to the question earlier. I think I asked about the strategy planning for the overall broadcasting. So maybe we could reach out to Marketing Guild, because I know that the Marketing Guild are responsible for many social media platforms now. We can reach out to figure out what strategy we should use. Overall manage the which content should be broadcasting, which should not. To reserve the brand image. Or Ernest, do you have any comments? I know you are leading one of the social media platforms, right? Okay.
I'm focused more on Web3 social media platforms, and trying to figure out how to develop campaigns for some projects in Marketing Guild, because that's part of Marketing Guild I didn't quite understand. So I don't know if I have a good comment.
Yeah, because I really feel like we should have the BDAO community should have a top sort of group to decide which content should be broadcast or not. On our guild side, it doesn't matter, right? We want to always try to broadcast more to make more impact. But then just on the top level, I feel like there should be some sort of a strategy applied to the brand image building related stuff.
I think there is a large movement trying to figure that out, but just related to the YouTube, I'm going pretty much based off of Luke from HQ's advice on how they run their channel. So he was just saying, like, you don't want to overpopulate your channel. His main thing was just don't drop too much content, because then you water it down and people stop coming. So that was his main advice. So I would also say, like, we're kind of opening the floodgates to the whole DAO. So I think you have to set a standard of at least quality, not necessarily doesn't need to be like super great stuff. But if we lower the bar too much, then we're just going to get flooded, and then nobody's going to watch the channel because they don't know what's good and what's not.
Yeah, it makes sense.
If I can add to this, so I think like when it comes to publishing the guild meetings and all of that to the Bankless DAO YouTube, it serves more like an archive for people who care about these particular meetings to go back and watch, but not really as something that people would come to learn, is what I would think. Especially if you're catering to, if you're seeking out sponsors and things like that, the quality standards need to be actually high, like how it is in a podcast hatchery. They have really good shows that are very created, like properly produced perfectly as in the podcast format. Similarly, if you look at you should think about that in the same way for YouTube as well, where it needs to be native to the platform. Probably some people who are willing to be on video or as their avatars, however it is. But I think some content that is created for the platform is what would be beneficial for. Because right now it also seems like the channel is being used to stream community calls and few of these content that people in the DAO care about. But if you are actually if you are thinking about reaching a larger audience and really improving the quality quality, maybe it would be a good idea to think about developing some kind of shows for interest within the DAO.
Thanks that you mentioned that, Salman, because that's what I've been thinking as well. Like when Ernest started live streaming, and I was like, this will sharpen our attention as well as help us practice really like creating kind of like little shows with for example, our meetings in this case. So we are not in the end that the end consumer would be sophisticated Web3 users who want to know everything about the DAOlationships guild. I think they could basically come into join the guild, catch up with information async, and join one of our next community calls. Not community, sorry, guild calls. And so this is more kind of for us as well, a practice ground, I think. And if we want to go back, similar to meeting notes, how we check meeting notes after a while, if someone has the time or wants to spend the time, we can rewatch what we did and what we actually said, for example. So I think it comes in handy anyways. So yeah. Thank you all for the thoughts. I think we can move on to the next agenda point. Yeah, eco, and I think we are down Cresco region unit, Bankless region. Yeah, eco and ClimaDAO. So I think when it comes to eco, we're currently trying to schedule a call with one of their founders or one of their leads that came into the DAO. We have a separate group discussion going on as well, but Iced Cool, I think, and Lynx have been in contact with them in terms of the bounty board and bounty board implementation. But I think, and if Thinker, I don't know if you're still around, I think you are probably more suitable to give updates on this.
On the eco partnership, yeah. So, yeah. So essentially, there is a little bit of crossover with what they're offering in terms of the app and what the Bankless Card app is offering. So, in terms of using the points here within the server, that's going to be a pretty big ask on the community, just because we have our own token structure, we have our own tipping structure, and we don't want to dilute that by introducing something that is possibly going to end up cannibalizing the Bankless token or the tokenomics that we have sort of built around the ecosystem using one token. Obviously, we use stablecoins, and there are other tokens that we will use for payments, but at the same time, not sure why we couldn't just create our own point system to do something like that. And again, I'm not saying that this isn't going to happen, because it may end up that Eco does offer the best solution, and it is something that we could integrate, A, with Bankless Card, or B, with just within the server as a tipping mechanism. So who knows? It's all a possibility. I'm just not sure exactly how it fits with the current plans of things going on around here. And then in terms of their tipping bot, they are working with Bounty Board to see if it could integrate in their server as some sort of software as a service that we provide. So that's a possibility. I'd say it's a stronger possibility that something like that goes through than actually integrating eco points within the Bankless DAO server. But then again, as I said, I'm not the arbiter of such decisions. All I can say is, how it would probably be spun, especially given the fact that we have Bankless Card app that's coming up right now. And we're looking at ways to incentivize partners to deal in our token. So not sure if adding another token to that would be too much or too little, or I don't know. It's all going to come out in the wash, but that's kind of where it's at the minute in terms of eco. So still waiting to have that conversation with Christian. He's been trying to set up a new date, and of course it's always an open table, and we'd love to talk with them about possibilities. So yeah, watch this space if you're interested. Get involved.
Yeah, thanks for the overview. This covers quite a bit, and as you said, like it's about timing. So maybe it's nothing for now, or maybe it is. But if it isn't, then maybe something for a few weeks or months. However, I think in general, when it comes to eco and their and the opportunities there's a lot of things that we could offer, or they could offer, and we could get as well. So a lot of collaboration points and partnership, like kind of ways to integrate together. So it could be an exciting partnership. So let's see how this develops. In terms of KlimaDAO, I think since our last conversation with, and I'm so bad at remembering names. I don't know who it was, but I know that he had a very important meeting right after us, after the call with NF Thinker and me. I think with the governor of New York City, but I'm not sure. And since then, it has been quite a bit on pause, and we had a conversation around KlimaDAO and what they do with carbon emissions and offsetting carbon emissions, and Markla and Ernest and the whole Carbon Collectibles NFTN initiative, what they are doing in a Web3 manner. And so, yeah, I don't think anything has happened since then. Is that correct, or am I not aware of something?
No, nothing happening with KlimaDAO at the minute. But I did mention what we were talking about last week to Aaron Targ, and Aaron is working on, basically working on some marketing initiatives, and he's also active in the Design Guild. So we did talk about maybe doing a marketing campaign for like an Carbon Collectibles NFT / KlimaDAO partnership, and just kind of test the water on that and see if we could work with those two teams and say, hey, let's get you together to work in conjunction, and Bankless DAO will then create the marketing materials. So initially it would be kind of like a freebie and produce something and then see if they wanted to go ahead with it. That was just one of the suggestions that came up in the meeting. So I mentioned it to Aaron, and he'd be interested in getting involved if we did decide to go ahead with something like that. And that could all be part of the regen initiative that we try and figure out. So yeah, lots of possibilities there.
Correct, yeah. All right, I think we can move on to the last point of our agenda item, or projects and updates, which is Aragon. So, Sean, the floor is yours.
Hey,
everybody. Yeah, so not really sure exactly how you guys want to go about this.
Maybe I just give a brief introduction how the relationship was coming from. So basically the Tammy Tope from Aragon DAO reached to us because they doing AMAs in their community, and they thought BDAO is a very leading DAO in this Web3 space. They invite us to join their AMA to share about our ideas and our thoughts. So that's how we get connected. And then later, Timmy Tope introduced Sean to me because Sean is like a sort of responsible for more boarding, like a community building, right? In Aragon DAO. So that's why I invite him to join our meeting. So to give us sort of an introduction about Aragon DAO and see how we can build more collaborations together. Sean, so do you want to give us some brief introduction about Aragon DAO?
Yeah. So Aragon DAO is a DAO that's been formed really to assist the network of DAOs that are built using Aragon. So currently we have about 18. Well, I think it's over 2,000 now. But I know for sure at least 1,800 DAOs built using Aragon. And then also the Aragon product is on multiple different chains. I think 4 different chains now. So really that's the entire purpose of the DAO, is just to help people form DAOs. And there's a lot of different things that go into that. So it could be help with them if they have issues with our product. It can be help connecting them with people who can help them with issues. Maybe they don't understand like the legal implications of creating their DAO. So these are just a couple ways that we help them. But I think one thing that really drew me to like hosting AMAs with Bankless is that I was speaking with Anthony, who is the head of biz dev with Aragon, and he said that we're looking at having you guys participate in the DAO Experts program that we're looking to get started. So for anyone who doesn't know, DAO Experts is going to be essentially like a consultancy program for DAOs. So if someone comes in and say they're having issues, maybe with like community building or like community outreach or setting up like the taxes for their DAOs or whatever it is, we're going to have service providers who can help them with this, and they'll have a dedicated channel within our Discord. And there will be like an application process, so that way there won't just be, somebody who just heard about DAOs yesterday and needs some help setting up a MetaMask wallet. That's not going to be what this is for. This is going to be for DAOs who are somewhat established in their journey and have very specific questions. So I think, and I was telling, I'm going to pronounce your name wrong, man. Jairus, James?
Yeah, it's Jairus.
Jairus, yeah. Gotcha. But I was telling him, I think if we can somehow integrate like this DAO Experts and maybe how Bankless will be kind of participating in this in an AMA, at least to get things kicked off, I think that would be like the best way to get it started. And I mean, and Bankless, you guys have so much stuff going on. I mean, we could probably have 10 AMAs all on different subjects and still not cover everything. Right. So I think that this is just really a good start for like this DAOlationship between the two of us.
Yeah, it sounds like a great start. So from my understanding, you want to do an AMA with us as far as having Bankless DAO members as guests at Aragon?
Yeah, we could do it like that. I'm not.
That's what it sounds. That's how I interpreted it.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I mean, preferably just have maybe like 2 or 3 people over, and that are familiar with how Bankless is going to participate in the DAO experts. I'm not sure who that would be here. And to be honest, I haven't gotten into details with Anthony on exactly how Bankless will be participating in this program, because it's still so early stage. But I think if we could have some people come over and speak on that, I think it would be a good start, because we're at Aragon, we're trying to start getting the community a bit more involved. We've been very, very internally focused over the past, pretty much up until now, just getting everything set up within the DAO. And then also the Aragon team has been working very much internally on making sure that the product is like 100%, because if you have people putting millions of dollars, of their treasury into this DAO, we want to make sure that they're taken care of, obviously. So now we're getting to a point where the product is like flawless, and we can actually start doing more outreach and getting and actually letting the world know what we're doing. So rather than us just be all of us just sitting here patting each other on the back, we're actually starting to do community outreach. And yeah, so it's taken me a little while to convince the higher ups within Aragon that this is something that's needed. If you ask a developer what's important and you ask a community manager what's important, they're going to have two very different ideas of what those things are. So I've finally gotten them to realize, like, yeah, you know what, maybe we should start posting these AMAs on YouTube, So, and that's really where we're at, is we're really just trying to grow a community and show the community that we're here for them. And we're trying to do AMAs that are showing this, right?
Right, and that's very important, to focusing on community outreach. Because, yeah, like a few other DAOs that I'm involved in, they have asked me about Aragon. I didn't know much about it at the time, but I keep hearing about it a lot. So, yeah, I'm just interested in learning more about Aragon.
Yeah, and it's crazy because Aragon has been around since 2016. So before DAOs were cool, they were helping people make DAOs, right? And
it was around during like Moloch DAO and all of that. And
exactly. I mean,
Outhouse.
really, I think it was built before them. So it was built right after the very first DAO. Like, I think after that started and almost immediately failed, I think is whenever they started getting into it, right? But once again, they were so internally focused, because especially at that time, the technology was so new, that they just kind of worked in their little cubicles and, all right, we're making this thing. And then they never told anybody about it. So, and that's really where we're at now, is telling people about it and trying to, like I said, let the community know that, like, we're here for them. Like, we want to get them involved in this process and almost like give them like a sense of ownership of what's going on.
For sure, yeah. So, let's definitely continue this conversation after this meeting and see how we can help each other.
I think there's a lot that can be done async, but in general, what comes up into my mind is kind of, so next steps could be think of ways to do a partnership and how to form it, and then submit a proposal to our community to check the sentiment if there's interest actually in collaborating together, because this is more of a sustainable partnership. I'd say this is more of a mid or even long-term approach of building interconnections or building this cross-DAO relationships within or between Bankless DAO and Aragon. And how I could see this is like ongoing work streams where folks that come in, for example, in DAOlationships and are interested in contributing in DAOlationships, we could, and that's the thing, like, I don't know if that works for now because I don't have the experience here with that, is that we have members of Bankless go and help Aragon with their AMAs, and this is an ongoing work stream, and everyone in the Aragon community knows about the Bankless people that are always there to do these AMAs. As Sean has said, we could potentially do 10 AMAs, specific sections, and not even covering everything. So this is a way for more than just one or 2 or 3 people to get involved and help contributing with this. So therefore, to come to the point, it's more of a long term, I think, partnership that's going to be set up, and not just an introduction to the community, for example, in form of an AMA, and then see where this is going. This is really like something deeper. So a work stream would be my recommendation, and I'm keen to hear some feedback on this and how this could turn out.
Does is Aragon on the Harmony blockchain at all?
They are on the Harmony blockchain. I'm
looking for an advisor on a DAO that's going to be essentially aiming to provide the base level service to the DAOs getting created on Harmony to help them essentially get their first governance doc, multi-sig, and token like built out. And so our DAO that's going to work with their alliance to service their DAOs would love to meet somebody in Aragon and talk about learn how Aragon is on Harmony. The other thing is that there's a DAO in a box project in the DAO. I'm not exactly sure where it is. I didn't see it on a real quick search, but essentially, once a DAO's kind of decided what it is, the DAO in a box is supposed to help them, get their tools and stuff set up. So both of these might be interesting paths to check out.
Yeah, no, I'm actually going to send you, there's a guy named Anson, and he's part of our tech support guild. And regarding the Harmony, he is going to be the one that you want to talk to. He is more familiar with pretty much all of it than I would say almost anybody. I mean, if there's anybody that can give you some good advice, especially on the Harmony blockchain, it's going to be Anson. And he's just he's really a pleasure to work with as well.
Nice. Thank you.
Yeah. One question here would be, do you have any research initiatives in Aragon? So kind of research work groups or something like that?
So we have one that's in the works. It started off as called the Dow Academy. So the initial plan for it was just to create like educational content for members of the DAO. And then it's since then has formed into a learning and experimentation guild. So that's much more focused on researching just about anything that has to do with DAOs, whether it be how we do our groups, how we do our Discord, how we format our Gitbook, like whatever, like pretty much whatever needs to be researched, they would be the ones taking care of that. However, their proposal was not approved. And honestly, I'm not sure exactly where it's at. I know within the Aragon Association, they definitely have a research team. I'm not sure exactly how they operate though, because the Aragon Association side of things is a bit of a mystery, to say the least. Like we're working on them. We're working on their transparency at the moment because they're, like I said, they're so used to just like working amongst themselves. When you're trying to get information from them, it can be kind of difficult sometimes.
Okay, thanks for the information. When I think about potential AMAs involving Bankless DAO, and I assume this means that you take specific initiatives that are going on in Bankless DAO, and we come to Aragon, and there's going to be an AMA hosted around this, where we will be talking about these stuffs, right? For example, yeah, and that's where I get like, because we have a work group in the research guild, the Stablecoin research work group, which right now is about to get the second grant approved, and this research work group has been developing since the past 4.5 months, and we started literally with 2 members, and we are now a group of 14 to 15 active / passive contributors, that are constantly working on this, and I think this is a good example of how a interest group with starting with 2 people can grow into a work group when applying for grants and get work done. And so I wonder if this is maybe a segment that can be covered in those AMAs within Aragon.
Oh, for sure. I think that's a really great example of how we could go about doing it, because rather than just like you guys coming over and us just you telling us about a project and us having like maybe a couple questions on it, it could be more of like a conversation, right? And we could use like the collective intelligence of the group to not only help you guys, but also to help us learn more about, and I'm not sure exactly what kind of initiatives you have, that you guys are researching, but especially if it's something that can help DAOs, right? Because really that's why Aragon exists, is to help DAOs. So if we can help you guys further your research while at the same time learning things that can help us help the people who are using our product, I think that at least in my mind, is like the ideal situation for an AMA between the two of us.
Okay, no, this sounds great, because the stablecoin research workgroup might be one example, but I'm sure if we have 22 services and products within the DAO currently that are at least listed on the table of the Bankless DAO's CRM services and products. But we need to probably update this one, and new ones come in. Ernest is going to add 2 more, so it will be 24, because I think the Carbon Collectibles NFT has been already edited to the table about 2 weeks ago. And this is a good example of, I reached out to Malklaw and gave him edit access to this particular subnotion page and told him that if he could please update this Notion page at least once a month, so we can, as clients come in or as potential cross-DAO collaboration opportunities come in, we know for certainty that we have an updated Notion page for every service and product, and we know it gets updated 3 times per season, and that's like good to know. It gives certainty, and but that's another topic for this one. But I would like to invite you to the Research Guild itself and our weekly syncs. The Research Guild weekly sync was today, but we have the Stablecoin Research Weekly Sync on Wednesday, 4 p.m. UTC. So if you want to, you can catch up, of course, with everything what we do async, and I would be happy to provide you with all the notes and stuff and the interest group charter that we use, but more on that maybe async or in the weekly call. But if you have time and want to introduce our workgroup members, and I think they will be very excited to this opportunity, then please come and join the weekly sync on Wednesday.
Yeah, so I will be at permissionless this week, but I can next week though, for sure. Okay. If you don't mind, can you send me just a link to the Seshbot invite? Like, I'm not gonna lie, you guys' Discord is is rough. So that would just help me out like tremendously.
Okay, sure. I will as well. Wait, I hope. Does Sean have the DAOplomats tag on? Because then I could tag you. Okay, no, you don't. I will send you the link. Just give me a little bit.
Yeah, no rush. No rush. I really appreciate it.
I already added the DAOplomat for Sean. So
Thank you. Yeah, we'll make sure to provide you with that. All right. Yeah. Besides from that, you saw, like, if someone here in the call comes up with an idea, just reach out to Sean. Yep. A lot of brainstorming could happen, or probably needs to happen. And I think if we have 1 or 2 or even 3 initiatives going on, that's a good starting point, and as the base layer kind of helps us moving forward. So cool.
Yeah, and I think, and then also, like, sorry guys, my gears are like turning now. So like, I think I mentioned like how we could set up an AMA that's more like externally focused. So like focused on helping like the people who are using Aragon. And then another idea for like internally, so like to help Aragon would be I know like you guys' newsletter is like infamous, and this is something that we're trying to get started like internally. So even if you guys came over and like spoke about like your newsletter and how you go about doing it, like not only would that be a great opportunity to shill the Bankless newsletter, but it would also help us get our newsletter started as well.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah,
just
thought process.
Yeah, so just throwing some ideas out there because the person we have doing our newsletter is still fairly new, and just throwing out I don't know. Like I said, I'm just throwing ideas out there. It came to my mind, so I thought I would toss it out.
Nice, yeah, thanks. So anything anyone else want to add? Because I want to respect everyone's time. I think we're at the top of the hour. So any final comments before we close the meeting? And I mean, then folks can stay in for the so-called after party, but I got to bounce.
Yeah, I've got to get going as well, guys. Thank you so much for having me, and I look forward to chatting with you guys afterwards.
Yeah, likewise.
Thank you, Sean.
Likewise, Sean.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Y'all have a good day.
Thanks, everybody. All right, good to see you.
I see you.
Nice meeting you.
Thank you, guys.
Bye, guys.
Thank
It
you.
is sorry. See you guys.
Yeah.